Alright, so we're going to go through this P3 kilowatt meter. I picked this up the other day. It was being clearanced out. I think I paid around $12 for it. And the reason I got it is I thought I was having some issues with my microwave, and we'll go through that shortly. But some of the things that this thing can measure is going to be your line voltage coming into your house, the amount of amps a device is going to use when you plug it into the device. It also will tell you the watts, and also you can check the frequency, hertz, of what your voltage is coming into the house as well. You can also track the amount of kilowatts being consumed, so you can set a timer on it or whatever, and it'll let you know how many kilowatts you used over a certain amount of time, to kind of get an idea of what that device is costing you for electricity based on your rate. And then some of the ranges in function here. So it says there's RMS voltage, RMS current, active power, apparent power, line frequency, power factor, power quantity, time quantity, display update, and power consumption. The active power is going to be when you plug a device into it. That device cannot be more than 1875 watts, and I know that quite well. It will beep at you if you go over that, and you can actually wreck it, so you don't want to do that. Same thing with amperage. You're not supposed to go more than 15 amps, which it will read 16 amps if you have a device that's drawing more than what it should be. So let's flip this around and take a look at the back side. Alright, so on the back side here, it has all your information. So that's going to be a P4400.01, I guess would be the model number, and then it has your max voltage, max current, and it shows your max power is 1800 watts on the back here. Again, it's made in China, and I don't know if it's by Intertech is the brand, maybe. So it's pretty easy to use. We'll plug it in here and just get a couple of readings, and then we'll go through the house, check out some appliances, and maybe fire up the generator and just see what that's reading out as. Alright, so this is our line voltage coming in with the 65-inch TV plugged into it, and it is on. So that's pretty good. And then if we look at the watt button here, we're using about 66.5 watts, and that's with the TV on. And it's pulling about half an amp the way it looks. So if we come back here, so there's the TV, and it's on. Now what I'm gonna do is turn the TV off, and we'll see how many watts does this TV use when it's off. So that's what it's using for amperage, so about 0.1 of an amp with the TV off but plugged in, and it's using 11. That's kind of jumping around a little bit, I guess. Oh, now it came down. Now it's down to 0. So it looks like about a watt is what the TV is using. And it kind of jumps around a little bit. That's weird. So that's with the TV off. And here's the line voltage with nothing plugged into it. You can see that that screen is hard to read. This would really be nice if this was backlit. You get a glare on it, it's really hard to read. So let's just check and see what kind of hertz we got coming out. 60 right on the nose. That's good. That's right where it should be. Alright, we'll check out the microwave here next. Alright, so the microwave. This is really the reason why I bought this device, because I wanted to see what was going on with the microwave. So this is a GE, and it's a sensor microwave oven, whatever that means. It's rated for 1100 cooking watts, which turns out to be different than what it actually consumes. I looked on the inside, and it says it uses 1.65 kilowatts, which I believe is like 1650 kilowatts, and I think that should put us around about 13 amps. So the reason why I believe there's a problem with the microwave is I was warming up a cup of coffee, and it actually popped the breaker. And this is in the kitchen here, and this breaker is only on 15 amps, I know that. But there's nothing else on this circuit, so that means this thing was putting a pretty heavy load on that 15 amp breaker. So we'll do some tests here and we'll see how close to that 1600 watts this thing is actually using. Alright, so there's our line voltage. I'm going to take the microwave and plug it in. Nothing should really change, maybe a little bit. Now let's see what we're using for watts with the microwave not on. So just to run, apparently the clock on the front of the microwave here looks like it's around 4 watts. So, and if we open it up, or at least open it to get the light on, that takes us up to about 23 watts, which is a pretty good draw just in itself. So let me grab a cup here with some water and we're gonna heat it up and see what happens. Okay, so I got a cup of water in the microwave and I'm just gonna press the express cook, which is the 1 minute, or the one here for 1 minute, and let's watch the wattage. Okay, so like I said, you're not supposed to go over 1800 watts, and you could tell it started flashing at like 1890, which is quite a bit. So that's probably not right for a 1.65 kilowatt microwave to be pulling that kind of watts. But let's see what the what the amps are. So we'll flip it to amps. So right now this thing's using 0.03 amps, just with the clock again. Let's crank up the cup here and see what we get. So we're drawing 16.5 amps. Yep, that would probably be enough to pop a 15 amp breaker. And that, like I said, this unit, this kilowatt meter is not designed for that, so it could be even more. It just probably won't go over that. It starts beeping. So that's interesting. So there definitely is some sort of issue with the microwave. Alright, so for fun here, we're going to do the toaster. I got it set on the highest setting. And let's see what that draws. I believe the toaster is rated for 750 watts. It's a pretty small one. So amps, we're looking at about 6.5. Let's go to watts. 790. That looks like what the max is going to be, 790 watts. So I just double check, and the toaster is indeed 750 watts is what it is rated for, and it also is a Intertech brand, just like the meter. So that's interesting. So we'll do a couple more tests here. I think we'll set up the generator outside and we'll see what kind of voltage that's putting into the house. But before we get to that, we might do some more household appliances. Okay, so we have the vacuum cleaner plugged in. It says that it's 12 amps. So I got to set the amps. Let's see what it is. Alright, so that was the vacuum cleaner just by itself on. Now we're going to do it with the vacuum cleaner actually cleaning the rug. Alright, so we're going to test out. So this is the line voltage on an outlet, and on a different outlet, but on this same circuit I have a 1500 watt space heater. It's a little oil heater plugged into it. So we're going to turn that on and see what our line voltage is. Oh, there we go, starting to drop. So there you go. So you got some pretty decent drop when you put one of those oil heaters on. And like I said, that it runs, I think, 1500. It's either 1400 or 1500 watts. Okay, so we're out in the shed, and the service line coming in is about 100 feet from the breaker panel in the basement, and this is the farthest run of wire in the shed here. We got 60 hertz, and if we go over to our volt side, we're sitting at 122. It was just 0.3, yeah, somewhere between 0.3 and 0.5. So that's pretty good, and that's the farthest run of wire there is. So I don't know, I don't think that's too bad. Alright, so for fun, I got the air compressor off here. I'm going to pop it on and we're going to see how much it pulls on this side. Now obviously this is only what we're measuring here on one side of the phase because the air compressor is 220, but we should still see some drop in our voltage. So I'm going to kick it in here and it's going to get noisy here. So there's a little bit of a drop on that phase there. Alright, so we're right where the power comes in here. I got the shortest run, I believe, for outlets right off the box here. We're getting 123.6, and that's at about 12:30 p.m. and like I said, there's nothing running. That's kind of going between 0.6 and 0.8 there. So that's pretty good. Alright, so this is that same outlet, and I have the power off, and this outlet is hot when the generator's on, so I'm going to flip the breaker for the generator side, and we'll see what we got coming in. Alright, so we got, jumping around there a little bit. So that's generator power coming out. Man, that fluctuates quite a bit. And the hertz coming in was 60 to the house. On the utility side, what is it on the... So generator side, it's quite a bit higher. So that's interesting. You know what I should do? I got a little Honda suitcase generator. We should throw this kilowatt meter on that once and just see if that does any better. Because this is a Generac XG 8000E that I've hooked up, and it's right now there's a 50-foot generator cord that gets us to the service, and then there's about 15 feet of 10 gauge wire that gets you to the actual box. So maybe there's some line drop there. Okay, so I got the Honda here in the garage, and we'll just run this a little bit. It's a Honda EU 2000i, and we'll take a look at the voltage and what we got for hertz. Okay, so that's what we got for voltage, and that's going to be on the low or the eco idling option there. And take a look at hertz. Ooh, that's dialed in nice. 59.8. That's just about spot on. Voltage is definitely on the high side though, but I'm assuming that would drop off if we put a decent load on it. Let's check it at high idle. Alright, so that's at high idle. That's what we got for voltage. Switch over to hertz. Still pretty much the same as before. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up. I highly recommend this. It is super easy to use. It's very simple in operation. You really can't goof anything up. Obviously, you don't want to go over the maximum wattage or amperage, so usually stick to your 15 amp appliances. And the only thing I say that could be improved with this would be that screen. If that was backlit, you could tell in the video there's some that it's really hard to see the screen, and I actually cut out some other stuff just because you couldn't see the screen, it was so dim. So other than that, it's a really great device, and I think you can pick them up for probably around 20 bucks if you don't find them on clearance. So alright, that's going to be it for now.